From the prophet Micah, chapter 6, verse 8. He has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. This is one of my favourite passages in the whole Bible, because for me, it sums up all I must do in order to serve the God in whom I believe and trust. But actually, we don't have to hold any religious beliefs, as is generally understood, in order to take this directive to heart and to live by it. If, for God, we substitute the moral code by which we govern our lives and our relationship with others, then we can all be motivated by it. What do we mean by act justly? Too often we equate justice with those who have broken the law getting the punishment that we think they deserve. But justice has a far wider scope than this. One of the definitions of justice is a concern for justice, peace, and genuine respect for people. And in our current situation, it is more important than ever. Is it justice, for instance, that many people now find themselves on the breadline through absolutely no fault of their own? If we are to act justly, we must do all in our individual power to help alleviate the distress of all those who have less than justice requires. Warm shelter, good food, suitable clothing, and a little left over for treats. And what do we mean by love mercy? Mercy can be defined as compassion or forbearance, shown especially to an offender. Our criminal justice system allows for this, and judging by the comments in the press and on social media, many people think that offenders have been allowed to get away with it. But we never know the whole story, as do those who pass sentence. Before we need condemn, we need to try and walk in the other person's shoes. And this doesn't just apply to those who've broken the law. Take the woman with the screaming child in the supermarket. What we might not know is that that child who is screaming for the chocolate bar or so wants may have had nothing to eat since the night before. And mum, who longs to buy a chocolate bar for her child, hasn't got enough money and can only buy bread and milk. Think about the small number of young people who gave us so much trouble as they roamed the streets last summer. Did any of us stop to think of the frustration, anger, and despair that all young people are suffering from then, and now? They see their futures disappear as COVID closes the businesses that they have been relying on for a job when they leave school. Loving mercy does not mean that those who misbehave should not be called to account. But it does require us to try and understand and to try to amend the circumstances that led to the misbehaviour in the first place. And what of humility? A person who is truly humble knows their own worth, but doesn't boast about it. They just get on with the job of caring for their fellow human beings. So, what is it that is required of us? That we see justice done for all in society, that we try to look on behaviour that we may disapprove of with mercy and understanding, and that we follow our own individual moral codes with humility and grace. Amen.